All right. Last topic. Best-selling games of all time. This has been brought up because...
Peace Walker.
No. Peace Walker's not on the list.
Damn it.
Definitely not.
Moonwalker.
Moonwalker is probably on the list. It's probably pretty low. Technically, every game.
There's
is
a list with
on the
Moonwalker
list.
on it somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a specialist.
Oh, we're gonna do a Moonwalker Let's Play.
Yeah, we are.
That'll be something special.
We should do that.
But all right, so
Wasn't
Grand
that game
Theft
only
Auto
like 3
5.
levels?
I don't know, but there was a great thriller level though. It was good.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So Grand Theft Auto 5 is now the second most selling game of all time.
Really?
That's
for victory.
Nuts. Like that means it sold more than Mario Bros.
Wait, is it the highest grossing or highest selling?
It
there's a
sold the
difference.
most units.
Yes.
Units. Okay, so it
And
literally
it certainly made the most money.
Yeah. So okay, Colin, you have a little more information on this because you know you're fancy and
Numbers.
you can talk about numbers and stuff.
All right, so Grand Theft Auto. So Take-Two is the publisher that owns, a lot of different publishing brands, but ultimately publishes Grand Theft Auto. Even though Rockstar is its own company or whatever. So they announced that 45 million copies of Grand Theft Auto 5 have been shipped in. Shipped in, of course, means shipped to retailers, not sold to consumers. It doesn't matter. People get hung up on this all the time. They don't ship copies to games that are not going to be sold to consumers. They're not stupid. So this is essentially a projected will hit this number, and it's 45 million.
Can't they ship the games back though? Isn't that how retailers work? If they don't sell a specific amount of units, they actually ship them back. They do it with comics.
No, have you seen all that like random Corey in the House? That's So Raven GBA games at like Blockbuster. They don't ship them back.
No, I have not seen either of those. But I'll go next time I'm at a
What
Blockbuster. I'll take a
Blockbuster are you
look.
Yeah,
going
I'm
to?
messing up. The Target, whatever.
Well, the point I'm making is that the last time they announced their numbers, they were shipped in and they hit the number sold in 2 months. So they're projecting out 2 months again, I think, to like what they're going to sell. And presumably this counts digitally. 45 million copies of the game have been sold. 45 million copies of Grand Theft Auto. It is the best-selling non-bundled game of all time. Let that wash over
money.
you. The best-selling game of all time is Wii Sports. Doesn't count in my mind because it's a bundle.
Bundled with every Wii, yeah.
So and according to the
game
chart,
that I argued
it's
was, like,
about 83 million. That doesn't really count. No one. You could buy Wii Sports, I think, actually. But because Wii's did come without it, like the Wii Minis and all those kinds of things. So I think that there must have been a way to go back and buy it later. Like, remember the Canadian like weird ass Wii's that were released?
Weird.
So Grand Theft Auto 5 is officially the best-selling non-bundle game of all time.
What's crazy about that too is that that's a $60 game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I would wonder it probably is the highest grossing game of all time.
Oh, it is. They made $1 billion in a day on that game.
Yeah. Well, no, they said that wasn't one of the Call of Duties one of the highest grossings.
Well, this
It was before this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then okay. I was gonna say.
And-
I remember like Black Ops or Black Ops 2 or something like that was like.
It was
took
Black
the
Ops
Biggest
2
entertainment launch of all time. I remember.
Yeah,
that.
Grand Theft Auto, as far as I remember, Grand Theft Auto 5 made $1 billion in 24
It
hours,
did.
which is insane.
Yeah.
Because the game, I think, probably cost no more than $500 million to make, which is still an insane amount of money, which means that they made $500 million in profit. Like, they made assuming the game was as expensive, including marketing, as Destiny, which is probably a safe assumption. Rockstar probably employs about 1,000 people to make a Grand Theft Auto game.
they probably don't. Well, no, they throw a shit ton of money behind marketing of that game.
Sure.
So I was gonna say they probably step back because of the namesake, but they don't. They go full in on their marketing campaign.
Absolutely, but I think Destiny was the most ambitious marketing campaign in gaming history as far as money. Yeah, as far as money is concerned, obviously, and with a first party too with Sony. And they made the crazy thing about this, and I was talking to Tim about this before, was make assumptions about certain console sales numbers, right? About 80 million PS3s, about 80 million Xbox 360s, is 160 million units. About 20 million PS4s, and about 10 million Xbox One. So that's about 190 million units consoles. That means that the attach rate of these games are 1 in 4 across all of the platforms it's available on. The game's not available on PC yet, which is incredible. And what's even crazier is assuming that a person owns... I was talking to Tim, I'm like, you have to assume with these particular consoles, PS4, PS3, Xbox 360, and Xbox One, that maybe about 80 million, 85 million people own these consoles. And what that means is that some people own one console and some people own 4, and somewhere in the middle... the number is. So it's about probably 80, 85, 90 million people. That means half of them own Grand Theft Auto 5. Half the people that own a console own Grand Theft Auto 5. That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
That's completely insane.
Well, they were smart too, right? Didn't they get the up-res version ready for next gen, like right off the bat? Wasn't it one of the first games you could buy?
It was ready in the fall. They were clearly working on it, and it was rumored to have been worked on. The crazier thing is that only 10 million of those were sold next gen. That means 35 million of them are sold on PS3 and 360.
To just up-res, which I have to assume is a hard process, especially for an open world game, but it's not as hard as it probably used to be.
Yeah.
Especially if you're and if you're Rockstar and you're probably building them in tandem, like I would have to imagine that they
right. Well, you're working on the
like,
PC version. That's going to be an easy port to
right.
this and do all these different things.
That's just an extra 10 million copies sold. I mean, how many developers?
But for the record, they went really far.
It was like
the
above and
up-res
beyond.
version.
It wasn't just like, oh, hey, it's nicer looking.
Here's
it
first person mode. Here's new quests. Here's new missions. Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. That's like. You really do. You just need to just make one of those every 4 years, and that's really it.
That's what we were talking about on Colin and Greg.
They still must be making money off of the last one that came out.
Oh, I'm sure. And the crazy thing is that the last one only sold about 25 million copies, and I say only. Yeah. But like this, what's incredible is that the install, like, it's just so funny. Like the Grand Theft Auto 4 numbers count the PC version, which hasn't fucking come out yet for Grand Theft Auto 5. That's even crazier because when that comes out, that's going to sell another 10 or 15 million copies.
For sure.
Because people love modding those games. So this game is going to pass the 50 million mark at least, which is fucking nuts when you consider that game costs $60 each. Like, they are just printing money, and the beauty of it, and this is what we were talking about on Colin and Greg Live, is the economics of it, right? Because Rockstar has multiple studios. One of them is obviously working on Red Dead. Rockstar North does Grand Theft Auto. Rockstar San Diego is probably doing Red Dead. They have all their different studios, like their ancillary studios. Thousands of people work on their games. They could take the Call of Duty tack and be like, we're going to make a Grand Theft Auto game every year. And that's what we're going to do. And we're going to fucking run this guy into the ground, and they'll sell 15, 20, 25 million copies of that game a year, but they don't. And what's brilliant is that they make more money by not doing that because the development cycle isn't so crazy that they have to do the Activision thing where like everyone in the Activision family works on Call of Duty now. Even guys like Raven who used to make their own games, or Neversoft, who used to make Tony Hawk. Now everyone is doing their part on Call of Duty to get out a game every year. It costs a lot of money. To do that, they're making tons of money by just being the game's ready when it's ready. And Grand Theft Auto 6 will probably come out in like 2020, and they're just like, we'll do it all over again, and we'll see how many copies of this game we can sell next time. Like if I were the Hauser brothers and if I worked at Rockstar and I was like, we just made $500 million in profit in one day, God. Like, I would be like, holy shit.
You're doing it right.
That's the thing.
Quality.
Like, there's two very distinctive business models that you're talking about, right? One's a lot more old school than the other. The business model everyone wants is they want to be able to get the product to market as soon as possible so they can make a ton of money with DLC or a ton of money with in-game purchases, right? Things like that. That's what Call of Duty is. It is an annual game, much like Madden was. And have we seen a downturn in their sales for that? I mean, the last one that came out sold really well, right?
For Madden?
No,
Call
for
of Duty.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. Yeah, Ghost sold, I think it's here. Black Ops, I think, is still the best-selling. Or no, Modern Warfare 3 is still the best-selling game.
Okay, so is downward, a little bit of a downward trend.
Yeah, so Modern Warfare 3 came out in 2011, which was a good game, and that sold 20. I mean, they're all in the mid-20s. Ghost, I think, is like somewhere around 17 or 18, right? Yeah, 17 and a half. So the games are selling less. I mean, but when you still sell, you have to put it into context, you're selling 17 or 18 million copies of a game, they're probably not so worried about it. I think that they're going to be worried when they get into the single digits, like 9 or 8 million. Then they're going to be like, this isn't, they're still going to be, actually, they will still make money off of that. But that's when I still think my biggest thing is that Call of Duty, if Activision's like, we're not going to release Call of Duty game for 4 years. And when we're going to release one, it's going to be awesome. It's going to have a 20-hour campaign, this crazy multiplayer we're going to build on for years, whatever. They probably will sell those numbers. It's just, and it would be cheaper, and it would be cheaper for them to do it. That's the funny thing is they can just take a studio like Sledgehammer instead of every fucking studio that they own and be like, you guys work on Call of Duty and that's it, and everyone else is going to do their own thing. And that's what Rockstar does, because Rockstar, if they wanted to make a Grand Theft Auto game every year, they could reskin, make go back to Liberty City or whatever. They can do that over and over and over again, but then it would cost more and more and more money, and their profit margins would go down.
Well, also there's something to be said. There's an inherent value in scarcity, right? There's an inherent value in creating that value, which is to say you don't get this product every year, right? It's the same reason why Tim and I look forward to Smash Brothers when it comes out, because we get one once every 25 years. A Smash Brothers game comes out, which is crazy. It's like our kids will get the next one unless I already have a kid floating around there somewhere, which I'm sure I do. That's the best possible place you could be in, though. But there's no other. I can't name another company that gets that luxury, right? Even Apple has to put a product out every 6 months, right? Every year we get an iPhone. Every year we get the S version, right? In that same cycle. Movie studios do the same thing, right? There is a reason why Marvel and DC have announced 15 movies coming out every year for the next how many years? 10 years, 15
20,
years.
Yeah.
It's because that affects your share prices, and you get, you benefit from that. So it is incredibly crazy that Rockstar can sit back, have enough cash to basically fund an entire country if they want, and just develop an amazing product. And it is amazing. Like, for any shit that you can talk about Rockstar, having worked with them or whatever, the games they put out are awesome. GTA 5 was awesome. I own a copy of that. I'm one of those people that I never play games. I have 2 games sitting on my shelf right now. One is Deus Ex, and one is GTA 5. That's it.
Wow, a diverse
quite
collection.
It's a huge collection, and I haven't beaten either of them yet, but I played them.
GTA 5, it is a bundle, I think.
It is with PS4. The next gen version was a PS4 bundle,
and I think there was also a PS. I could be wrong about this, but I think there was a PS3.
There was one with headsets. Bundle. We were at the conference. There was one with headsets, whatever. But
I think there is a PS3 bundle.
Yeah, but I don't. My assumption based on the hardware sales of PS3 is that this accounts for very little of the sales. My assumption was that 90% plus sales were probably not through
just the game.
bundles.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying.
And it's not when I talk about a bundled game, I'm not talking about a game that can be bundled. I'm talking about a game that is a bundled game. So like Tetris with Game Boy or
Wii Sports.
Wii Sports or
was Wii Sports the number 1?
Yeah, Wii Sports is the best selling game of all time. Jeez. But again, that doesn't, and that's it's a great game. I mean, there's no. We talked about bundled games and what's most important. And people made really great points, I think, in the comments that Wii Sports is probably that important game. But GTA 5, I agree with you. Like, I think I was actually a little disappointed with GTA 5. I never beat it. I was like, I don't really. But it wasn't because the game was bad. It's just because I didn't want to play it. You know, it was just like, whatever. But it's so impressive that this game, for as popular as it is, I still feel is understated based on how many people own it. You know what I mean? 50 million people, that's an incredible amount of people. That would be, if it was all American, and they're not, that would be 1/6 of the people in the United States, you know what I mean, own the game.
Yeah. For
all of that, the people that own the game, I feel like it's actually very understated. You would think a game like Minecraft outsold it, but it didn't. You know what I mean? And that's the crazier, I think, through line about what cultural phenomenon equals to a game that just sells well or is just quietly good. And I'm not saying Grand Theft Auto 5 is quietly good. Obviously, they had a lot of ad campaigns. People love that game. They play the shit out of it. They're obsessed with it. But for 45 million sales worth, it is very quiet.
Well, I feel
that's because it's a no-brainer at this point. It's the 5th version of Grand Theft Auto. Everyone knows that's awesome. That's why I kept saying what I would have loved to see them do with GTA 5 is just when they were like, we're gonna do our first trailer, and the only trailer they ever put out is a black screen, and you can hear Michael and Trevor, and there's like things happening, there's gunshots, there's explosions, and he's talking about like, I left this life behind. And it's just all it is a black screen that fades up with the GTA 5 logo, and that's all they ever released. I think they could do that and say fade up with the logo and say October or whatever, and that game would still sell like crazy. Yeah, and it would get even more press. I think that would be
like Beyonce shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
GTA is the fucking Beyonce of the video game industry.
Do you feel like it's? I mean, obviously GTA 5 is hugely culturally relevant, but do you feel like it doesn't get that visibility because of GTA Online? Because most of these games that we are talking about are huge multiplayer phenomenons, and the GTA Online, what was amazing, was a little undersupported, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the interesting numbers that they released were about a little more than half the people that own GTA 5 play it online, which is the numbers are good. It's like 25 million people, but heists aren't ready yet, and
that's what I was gonna say. It must have been a huge uphill, and then leveled off, and then dropped.
Oh,
right? After a while, you're like, okay, there's only so many times I can play through all these modes.
Oh, I'm sure.
I need new stuff.
I'm sure. I think that has something to do with it. I'm more intrigued by their model and their quiet work ethic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Rockstar doesn't make a lot of noise in between games at all. Like when Ballad of Gay Tony came out, which was the last DLC for GTA 4, but for GTA 5 there was very little noise. Like they were quietly working on the game in New York City, and that's the thing I love most about them is that it's not because I'm a New Yorker, it's that they're in New York City. That's really weird. You know? Like there are no developers in New York City of any consequence, you know? But they're like, we make so much because it's expensive.
Yeah.
So they're like, we make so much money that we employ a metric shit ton of people in New York. And we stay here apart from the entire games industry and make our game. And when we're ready to show it to you, we show it to you. And until then, we have nothing to say. You know what I mean? And that's like what I really love. We'll see Red Dead from them, I think, soon from a different Rockstar studio. But, when, the Rockstar studio in Europe and the Rockstar studio in San Diego and New York, and they're all kind of collaborating on all these things and working on all these games independently, that's what you're talking about with the up-resing that was certainly done by, people internally with the team when they moved on probably to DLC, because there's more coming for GTA 5. It's just amazing that within a year and a few months, it came out in September of 2013, so a year and about 5 months, they've outsold. I mean, look at the games on this list. You know what I mean? Like they've just. It's not even close.
But I mean, you got that.
They trounced them.
That's what everyone dreams of, right? You have that IP that sells itself. It's the Star Wars of a video game, right? Where it is beyond a shadow of a doubt that Star Wars is going to be a hugely grossing movie when Force Awakens comes out. This is the kind of thing that developers or studios dream of having. Like they are the top 1% like a 0.00001% of developers that has that luxury, and it's because they have the lineage of making crazy ass, awesome, addictive games. It's amazing.
Well, that what's important to me now, and I don't know if you guys agree with this, is that they have to be careful stewards now of Grand Theft Auto moving forward, because remember that a different Rockstar existed after GTA 3. Remember that the first Grand Theft Auto games were very different than GTA 3.
Top
down.
And when GTA 3 came out and hit, they immediately made Vice City, and then they immediately made San Andreas. And I think Vice City is the best Grand Theft Auto game in my opinion. But
Yeah, me too.
San Andreas went a little far. It's the Metal Gear Solid 3, let's call it, of Grand Theft Auto. But then they went away again for a while. For between sorry, I just elbowed Portillo in the head.
There's nothing
between
up there
2004 and 2008. They went away, and then they did it again. Like, they were very overzealous in the beginning because they wanted to strike on that success, but they have not done that since. And so my what I encourage them, and I'm sure they're much smarter people than me, and I'm sure they're going to do this, is don't make another Grand Theft Auto game the entire generation. Just disappear and make the next one, because you know what? Like, they're already R&Ding PS5 probably and all these other things, like, very quietly. And in a couple of years,
they're gonna have another one come out during this.
I hope not.
Generations are like 10 years now, right?
I hope they don't. You know, like, that's what makes it. That's what makes it so special.
Well, I mean, that's what happened with GTA 4.
You know, like, that's what makes it so special, is that, you know, GTA 5 is a native PS3 game, but it's really an in-between game. And what I would love to see them do is, no company, Microsoft and Sony would fall over backwards to work with them, you know? So when they're ready to show, like, the very early in 2017, 2018, like, this is what the next console is going to be, this is what we're thinking, let them know and let them start making that game for that.
But I mean, like, look at the numbers they just did. Like, why not do the exact same thing in bookend? You know, they're going to see how well they did here, so put out GTA 6 right at the end of the PS4's life cycle and then put it over to PS5.
Yeah, it's a valid point. We'll see what happens. I hope their stewardship of the series is going to be very important moving forward, because they have to remember that the quality of the game speaks for itself. I feel the same way about Call of Duty. Actually, I think those games are very high quality. Even though they make them every year, I think they're of a high quality. But don't run it into the ground. Your trajectory is going up. Call of Duty's is going down. You know what I mean? So just
not by a deep slope, but it is going.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at the numbers here. Modern Warfare 3 is 26 million. And Ghost, which was last year's, is like 17. So that's a pretty significant jump.
Yeah.
You know, so like,
that's true.
So like, they're definitely trending down, and GTA is trending up. So
came out, right? We don't have numbers for Advanced Warfare.
No, Advanced Warfare was the last one to come out.
I would love Advanced Warfare.
I don't even know if that's on here. The other thing is that, and this is the crazier thing I was thinking about, Tim, and I don't mean to talk too much, but I have to say this: what's the ubiquitous Nintendo game?
Mario,
the original one, right?
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 5 sold more copies than that game.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
You know what I mean? Like, that's fucking nuts.
And it's crazy to think too, because how well did Red Dead sell, right?
I don't know. Red Dead must have done
decently enough.
6, 7, 8 million. You would say somewhere in there probably.
So really,
think so.
And it's just, again, going back to that, like, there is something so special about GTA. Mm-hmm. There's just like, one day I hope we have a show that does that well for us on Kind of Funny and Kind of Funny Games, where it's like, no matter what we do, people love that show.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
It's what every creator, what every artist kind of strives toward. Mm-hmm. It's just to have that name recognition, that big IP that can just sell no matter what.
All right. Well, we could talk about this forever, and I feel like we should have another topic, a follow-up topic soon, where we actually just go through all of the best-selling games on all the different consoles and see, because I feel like there's going to be a couple surprises in there. We didn't have time to do it here because we just kept talking about GTA, because GTA is that damn good.
There are. Wikipedia has a great just a great list of lists, and they're cited. They're cited.
I love lists.
Nintendo is really great, especially about updating sales of historic software too, which I think is really cool. And so if you dive in, they even separate them on this page by console, which I think is fun. So we should definitely can and should, I think, dive into that in the future.
Anyways, until next week, please give us some 5 stars on iTunes. Please leave some comments below about all your thoughts on all the different things we talked about, or you know what, just enjoy it. However you want to enjoy it. Until next time, I'm Tim Gettys. That is our special guest, Nick Scarfino.
Hey, guys.
That's Greg Miller. And that's Colin Moriarty. We are Kind of Funny.